Well, hello, guys. Welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned in with us. If you're just tuning in right now, you may want to hit the rewind button because you just missed an awesome segment. Okay. But at this point, we want to hear the testimony of Mrs. Tayo Bello as we continue to talk about, resetting the trajectory of our sons' lives. Okay. And we've just had an awesome talk with Ibironke from last week. Again, you missed that. It's still on our Facebook page. Also, it's on the Maggie TV show YouTube channel. Okay, so at this point, may I make welcome Mrs. Tayo Bello. You are welcome, ma'am. Good to have you on here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Mrs. Ezekiel, for doing this. I mean, I would say I have greatly benefited from it. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that I didn't know about before, but now I'm kind of in the loop of the way things are.
Yeah.
My story is completely different from Mrs. Buraimoh. It's completely different.
Okay.
And it breaks my heart to listen to her and to hear what that young man has been through.
Right.
In my own case, it was a case of sending my son to what I think is the best school. Again, paying through my nose to get him through the school because it's an independent school.
Okay.
But because I've got all boys and they're all very easygoing, very quiet.
Right.
But in the school, some of the boys in the school is a predominantly boys' school. They were calling him names that I did not know about. Okay. Sometimes they will use the F word, sometimes, and he's got two older brothers that have been through the school. So sometimes somebody will say to him that, oh, your big brother was very fast because they were all into sports. Why are you so lazy? Why is that? But with all this going on, my son...
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, excuse me one moment. So was this a predominantly white school then? Or
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
All right.
So I think in his year group, they probably have about maybe 4 black boys.
Okay.
In 3 class of, say, maybe 60.
Mm-hmm.
So, but every time he comes home and I say, oh, how is school? I know school is fine. He never really said anything about what he was going through.
Uh-huh.
He comes back, we go to the school meeting. Because he's so quiet, very easygoing, all the teacher loves him. So nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew what he was going through.
Right.
But because he's such a lovely, easygoing, but then sometimes he'll say, oh, Mom, I just don't like the school. And I'm like, okay, why don't you like your school? Oh, I just don't like it. And I'm thinking, why won't you just like your school? And I think one day he was brave enough to say, oh, this was what was happening. Even at that, he didn't say everything, just said, oh, people, they've been calling me names. And I'm like, what do you mean names? So I went into the school and I spoke to the form tutor. And because like I said, he's such an easygoing boy, the form tutor likes him so much. And he said, oh, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. If they're doing anything, it shouldn't be him, that I would look into, get to the bottom of it. So I left it at that, and I said to him, don't worry, it's going to be sorted. Your form teacher is going to kind of look into it. And then one day he called me from school and said to me, Mom, can you tell them to let me go? And I'm like, excuse me? Why would I tell them to let you come home? I said, well, that would be quite irresponsible of me. I'm not going to do that. And I said, well, why do you want to come home? He said, oh, so and so teacher is speaking on me. I said, okay. I said, you calm down. I'm going to call the reception and then I'm going to speak to them. So I called them and I said, you know what? At this particular moment, I do not care what is going on, but you look after my son. You calm him down. You make sure he's okay. And, I said, he just called me to tell me he wants to come home. And I don't think it would be nice if I say to you, let him come home.
Right.
And they said, oh, don't worry, Mrs. Bello, we'll look after him. We'll make sure he's okay. So I left it at that. So when he came home, I said, okay, now tell me what happened. He said, oh, a teacher was speaking on me because he wanted me to do something. I think it was PE or something. And because he's in the final year, I think they can choose what to do and what not to do. And he's like, oh, he was picking on me and blah, 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 blah. I said, okay. And this same teacher, I had him pick on my first son there. But they sorted it out like, you know, like guys. So I kind of left it. So then he said to me, I said, okay, I'll speak to your teacher. And he said, oh, no. My form tutor said you sort it out. So the second day, I think they asked him to kind of write a statement. And in writing the statement, he wrote so many horrible things about the school, how he hated the school. And I think they were shocked. But, you know, in all this, they never thought it was okay to call the parents. So he just came home and he said, oh, I wrote so many things. And I said, wow, Toby, you wrote that? He said, yes. I said, okay. He said, but they said they'll sort it out. But I wasn't too bothered because I'm thinking, yeah, he only has about 2-3 months left, you know. But what I did not understand was how bad he felt. And that really, really hurts because I didn't understand how bad he felt. But he has a cousin in Canada, and every time anything happens in school, he calls the cousin to say, oh, I don't like this. And then my sister said, oh, he doesn't like his school. I said, well, I know, but he only has a few months left and then he's going to leave the school. And then all of a sudden, during the COVID, ours is quite recent, one day he kind of snapped. I was talking to him and then he said, oh, I'm going to Westfield. And
the mall,
I sent you and dad an email. Can you please read it? I was sitting at dining table, so he left. As soon as he left, I opened the email and I read it. I was shocked. In fact, the first thing I did, I think I called Ibironke and I said, look, this is da 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 da. And then I called him. I said, where are you? Because at that particular point in time, I thought he was going to do something stupid. And I called him. I said, where are you? He said, oh, Mom, I'm in Westfield. I said, stay where you are. I'm coming. I dropped everything, drove down to Westfield. I was scared because I thought, I don't know what would have happened. So when I got there, I saw him and we hugged each other and he cried. And I said, well, it's fine. I thought we talked about this, your school. You're leaving anyway. As soon as you finish your GCSE, there's no point. And I said, but you said you've moved on from it. What has brought this on? I forgot to say something. The school was actually getting him to see a psychologist in the school. So he's had about 2-3 sessions with the psychologist. That did upset me because I did not understand why you would get my son to see a psychologist without telling me.
Oh, no, they didn't. I'm sorry, say that again. They did what?
Yeah, they did. He was seeing a psychologist in the school.
And you as parent had no idea?
No.
Are you free to share how old your son was at this point?
He's 14.
Fantastic. Okay.
He's between 14 and 15. So it just so I said, okay. I said to him, I said, you know what, we've talked about this, and as a family, we would support you all the way, you know, but I don't like the way you're feeling. You need to talk to me more. And he's not talking to me just because, but his nature is he's just a quiet lad. It's not because of anything. It's not because he's scared of talking to us, but it's just generally a quiet lad, and he's thinking, oh, it's going to be over anyway. I'm leaving the school. But I didn't know how much it has affected him. You know, when I saw the letter, so we came home, you know, I took him out. I said, you know what, it's your birthday in a few days. Buy whatever you want. Let's go out. We went shopping together. We went to Westfield. We went to a few shops, even the shops I would not normally go to, but you know, I just wanted to make him happy. You know, we bought foods. Then we came back home. So I said to him, then I'd already spoken to Ibironke, and then I said to him, I said, well, would you like to speak to a psychologist? Because at that point I was worried, and I was worried that was it only a verbal abuse or there was more to it? Because at that point I was scared. You know, that was it only verbal? Was it only down to his mates, or something else happening within the school? So, and I asked him, and he said, oh, no, it was just.
Sorry, ma'am. May I ask? This was daily school, so this is not boarding.
Yeah. It goes every day.
Okay.
So I said to him, he said, oh, no, it's
Right.
just the boys and they call me names. Some of them will call me the N word and da 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 da. I said, okay. So when I asked him if he was going to say, if he wanted to see a psychologist, he said, oh, but I've seen a psychologist in school. I said, it doesn't matter. I said, I would still like you to see a psychologist. And he said, it's okay. So we got a psychologist that actually, I explained to him and he said, oh, is it okay to speak to him? And I said, yes. So I said to him, I said, oh, so and so is going to speak to you. Are you happy to speak to him? And he said, yes.
Right.
So the psychologist actually spoke to him and then came back to me with the report. But on the day that I spoke to the psychologist, he came downstairs to me smiling.
Right.
So I said, are you okay? He said, yes. I said, did you speak to him? He said, yes. I said, is everything fine? He said, okay. So the psychologist now gave me feedback saying, oh, he's fine. He knows how to handle the things. It's just that what brought it back on, he had forgotten about it, but I think what brought it back on was they did an end of the year service for the school,
right,
in the COVID pandemic thing, and it was on YouTube. And I think that was what he now watched. And maybe some people were coming out talking about, oh, how good the school is. And I think that really, really upset him. And he's like, excuse me, it's not as good as you guys are. And I think that was what actually brought, the thing on where he was really upset. And I said to him, I said, look, you can't keep on tormenting yourself. You've left the school. But for me as a parent, I was hurt. And I was hurt because, one, I am paying for the school.
Right. Through your nose.
Yeah, exactly. And two, the fact that you've put my son through a psychologist without me knowing, that is the second one. The third thing is I thought I was doing the right thing. And the fact that my son was going through that and I didn't know about it, as a mother, that really hurts. Right. That really, really hurts. Yes, he's okay now. I mean, he only had one session with the psychologist and the guy said, oh, he's fine, but it really hurts for any child to go through that, whether it's a public school or an independent school. No child deserves to go through that. They're young.
Absolutely.
They're young. And you see, all these things might have.
Matter of fact, sorry if I may say this. Matter of fact, a 14-year-old. It's bizarre that they would take the steps to have your son see a psychologist. 3-4 sessions. In the school without your consent. Matter of fact, we got somebody commenting on Facebook, if I may read that. Right quick. And this sister says, seeing a psychologist without permission from the parents is wrong. That is not allowed in the US. That is a big lawsuit. Matter of fact, is it too late to sue here?
Well, it's not too late. It's not too late because everything we're talking about is within the space of before the lockdown.
COVID, so the quarantine lockdown season.
If I want to do that, I could do that, but I need to think about my son. Right. Is that what he wants? Right.
Because you are now super careful with how you are handling his feelings, him telling you how he's feeling. So he started off by telling you, Mama, I didn't like the school, and that you were like, well, how could you possibly not like the school? Your two brothers have been through this school, so on and so forth. And in your own judgment, you felt, well, it's a great school, but you did not know what he was facing or going through on a personal level. And then when he couldn't even handle it anymore, where he felt he was trying to get through to you, like you said, there was a phone call at first where he said, Mama, would you get these people to let me go? And then when even that failed, when you felt like, okay, he's just overreacting, what's all this? He then even wrote you an email.
And that was what broke the camel's back. I'm like, what? you need to see the speed that I dropped I sat down and I looked at him and I'm like, what? You know, and I was in the car driving when I called Ibironke and said, look, this, because fortunately I did one of the program that she did. So that was how I kind of got. So as soon as I saw that, I just thought, as I was driving, I called her, I said, look, this is my situation. I need, I need help. I don't, because at that point I didn't really know what to do, and you hear all these things on the news, young boys committing suicide. And all I could think of at that particular moment was, wow, what if something has happened to him? What if he's gone to do something? And I was scared out of my wit. If the first time I called him, he didn't pick up the phone because I think he was on the bus and the phone was in his pocket. And gosh, and I called him again, and then he picked, and I said, where are you? He said, I said, just stay where you are. Don't move. I'm coming. I didn't say anything to him. I just said, I am coming. Do not move. But the minute I saw him, and then we gave each other a hug, and he started crying. He can't, and I'm like, look, I thought we've talked about it. And it shows how boys can kind of hide their feelings. And it is quite important that with boys, they need to speak up. They need to tell us what is going on, because otherwise, except you're kind of, and it's a boy that did not let anything away, in the sense that you don't suspect that he's going through anything. It comes out, how is it? Okay. Yeah, it's a normal reaction with boys, and he was doing well.
Yeah. And this is, see, this is the thing. I think what I'm also hearing you say to every mom and dad out there watching, be it's here on Facebook or onto the YouTube channel, really, you're getting parents to really start thinking what they're hearing.
We need
when their kids say, because I know sometimes it's hard to get them to say more than 2-3 words.
Yes, especially boys.
Yeah. And so really, moms and dads, we need to like hear in between what is not being said. I see Ibironke, you're nodding. You're like, yeah. do you want to say something to this?
I was just going to sound like a broken record, but shivers down my spine. Memories of incidences that have happened in our own case. I'm not going to divert that to mine, but there are a couple of things that I'm hoping would help each and every one of us, and as well spread this information in our various communities. Now, a statement was made here, and you kind of emphasized on that as well. We want boys to tell us what is going on. Well, can I bring back that even internally within our communities, there is also implicit memory, because it is known that boys, come on, stop crying, even as little as 3. Man up.
Boys don't cry.
You understand that? And honestly, and then we are mothers here, and then we find out that we're in a marriage or a relationship, and the guys don't show emotions. So I usually say that, we've gotten to a point, we've realized a huge mistake as a community. And by taking the right step, allowing our boys to express. I have big boys. I now, haven't learned so much more. I go and give a hug, I give a peck, and they go, oh, but I know that really, that's an affirmation that mama loves me, regardless of whatever. So we need to move away from, it's to be a man, you don't need to show your emotions. To be a man is the ability to recognize your emotions and then use your rational mind to respond to that emotion. One thing that can I carry on, Maggie?
Yes, please, go for it.
I go to the money issue. Well, it's a thing about also a community. We want the best for our children. My daughter is totally different from the 2 boys. She asked me, do you ever pause to ask me if that is what I want? I get it that you're paying for this. We do that. And psychologically, we drain our children. I'm paying, I'm working hard, taking 2 jobs for this school. And sometimes it's not knowingly, but now we know what we do and we don't want to listen. I've paid for this. You're getting a good education. It's going to look TV. And can I guess, it's going to look good on me as well. So when my daughter is in Northwood Girls, she is doing well, but the emotions we've been. So the money issue, we appreciate every parent on here who is working so hard, but we should also bear in mind how our children are faring in this expensive schools. Take that now, solidify that statement. One thing about our community, I'm also guilty of it. When we move to a particular area, I thought, Maggie, I think we had that first discussion. We move away from people like us.
Yeah.
And it's because of certain reasons. We don't listen. Sometimes we're too loud. And you just think, I'm running away from this mess instead of us staying together to educate each other. So we run away. And obviously, when we send our children to schools, we don't have a taproot system. It's a lone route. If I go back to what she said, what Tayo shared with us, we need to understand our children. When I was growing up, I think I can say it anyway. I wasn't the normal child. I kind of did everything the way I thought it through. So sometimes I couldn't communicate with my parents and I wrote letters. And I kind of encouraged my daughter to do that. If you can't, you must allow them to express. Can I throw this out here? If your children have questions and they're not coming to you, please just know that somebody else is giving them answers.
That's right. That's right.
Detriment of their lives. Now, the child cried out, "Let me go." That is an alarm warning. Let me go. Now, God is so lucky. All of us here are so blessed to hear this story narrated this way. It could have gone pear-shaped.
Yeah.
Let me go means I'm going to kill myself. Let me go means there are going to be outbursts of anger. But thank God he comes from you see, another thing is a loving, knitted home. That is what made this child survive. So I doff my hat, Tayo.
Thank you.
Let me go means so many things. Let me go now means I begin to answer to that chimp erratic behavior. And like Funmi was saying, it now is, it just skyrockets from one trouble to the other. But nobody bothered to look at the source. Now, you also said about them getting somebody for him to write something. I have told my children, do not write anything that would have your signature in, because it is, I work within the system, but most times it's to implicate the child. You calmly say without saying, I would not sign anything. I probably would need my mom or my dad to be here.
Okay.
Sometimes the things are twisted and your child's emotions are very high up there. So when they're writing from an emotional part. Now, whatever he's written, he wrote exactly how he felt, which is a good thing. But unfortunately, what they've used that is a statement, a license to say that this child is not balanced. So this is for parents out there. Please be very careful. You should tell your children that anything that involves writing anything, I'm sorry, maybe I need to call my mom. I need somebody that is close enough to me to write this statement. All right. Last thing I wanted to say that the nature of your child. If you have quietly inclined children who are good listeners, if we didn't have good listeners, we wouldn't have counselors. It's good to tell them from the onset, create a system that works for them. So and when you ask them, Maggie, how are you? Don't take fine. You know what the triggers are. Like, for example, Tayo said this child mentioned something about a particular teacher. So you just ask in a calm way. So how is sir something? And then from that, you've opened up a window for communication, sensory information. Yes. It's deep. It's deep. But we thank God that our stories have come out right, but it could have gone pear-shaped.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, let me just read something off of the comments on Facebook here. We got one of our sisters on here. She makes this comment. She says, boys really like to be independent and believe they can handle their lives when they get to a certain age. We should look out for the telltale signs.
Absolutely.
Okay. Fantastic. This is amazing. Another person here comments, they say, the way boys are structured is different. They often do not speak out because they feel they can handle it but first, they can handle it. But at first, we must need to listen and not just hear them. Okay. So we're needing to develop the listening ear. Hearing is not just, so we're not just going to hear, we're not just going to hear what they're saying. We're going to listen.
Did I come in there, Maggie?
Yes.
What we do is that sometimes we hear, but we're not hearing to understand. I think that in the first first segment.
Yeah.
Now I think these are things we need to learn. So when your child is speaking to you, my daughter actually calls me to attention. When your child is speaking to you, you need to put everything down. And actually listen. So she tells me, Mom, I'm actually speaking. And I'm saying, Mom, I'm still trying to do something. Can I just have this 5 minutes? And if they've tried that with you several times and you don't act accordingly, your posture again doesn't show that you're listening to them. And it's always difficult to get anything out because they'll know anyway. Mom would be on her phone. She's probably talking to a friend or my other sibling.
I'm telling you.
Yes.
We you know what, we need to change that. We need to change that. I'm in that same boat. You'd be trying to multitask. You're doing 16 things at the same time, and your child's over here trying to get your attention, and they're still standing there. Bless God for my son. He's just so patient with me. But then I had her catch myself. I was like, did I just get my son waiting while I did what? A text? The person can wait. Okay. They need to wait. My priority here is my son. Whatever it is, he's trying to tell me. And so, wow, gosh, we're coming out of this with so much to learn from in how we are going forward. Coming back to our sister Funmi Buraimoh, she said basically she's given parents amazing advice where she's saying first thing we need to do, if I got her right, was listen, regardless of whatever the report or the accusation for your son is, first thing you got to do, show them love intentionally, show them acceptance. Where, right or wrong, first thing you're going to need to do is acceptance, show them the love. Okay. Because if they don't feel that at home and they're already going through some at school, so the two places that are familiar to them, they're like this. Okay. So they're going to have to find somewhere else. And I love what you said earlier. You said that if we're not giving our children answers, we need to understand somebody else is going to give them those answers, and it will be to their detriment. Wow. So parents, we need to wake up and get with the program. We need to get with the program. So before we go, let me come back to Mrs. Tayo Bello. Ma'am, so here you are. You've worked hard. You want to give your sons the best education that money can buy. What do you say to that parent out there? Obviously, we're not here to say that all private schools or independent schools are bad and yada, yada, yada. You shouldn't take your children to such. But from somebody who just experienced what you just experienced with your son, what would you be saying to that parent who is considering, okay, I'm going to send my son to a predominantly white school because, I believe he'll be less distracted. They will instill discipline in him. He'll be focused and yada, 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 and all those type of things. What would you say to the mom or the dad out there listening to you?
Well, it will be maybe try before you fill the form and decide you want to send your child to that school, maybe find somebody that already has a child in the school, possibly a Black person like yourself, not a white person, because if it is predominantly a white, then there's a possibility that they won't be able to give you the answers to the questions you're asking.
Yeah.
But a Black person that has a child in the school will be able to tell you the way it is.
Yeah.
But having said that, it's just down to luck, really.
Yeah.
To be honest, because they could tell you their own child might do well in the school, might not have any problem, but your own child might. You never know. And you see, one thing I say to people is children are the most vindictive human beings in the world. Children. I used to be in the education sector, so they can be horrible. You know, so I think what we need to do is just to educate our children that whatever situation you find yourself in, they need to have a plan B. We need to teach them the plan B. Like I used to say to my children, if they tell you you're stupid, or if they tell you, just say to them that, oh, really? Wow. If I'm stupid, I don't know what that makes you. They used to laugh when I tell them when they were in primary school.
Right.
That if they say to you, oh, you Black, whatever, you say to them, oh, am I really Black? Turn it into a kind of that they'll be looking at you and be thinking, I mean, the next day they won't be bothered with you because they're going to think this one is not serious. This one is just going to turn it into a joke, you know? And that was the way I brought them up, because at the same time, they have to go to school. They're gonna be exposed one way or the other, and you cannot protect them forever. They need to know how to fight back in a nice way that does not get them into trouble. And something I used to say to my son, if they kick you and nobody sees them when they kick you, but the minute you get up to kick them, then somebody sees you. So don't even try to kick them back. No. You report to a teacher, because I've been in that situation several times that as Black people, they don't know, nobody sees it when they're doing something to us. Yeah. But the moment we get up that, oh, we're going to retaliate, oh, that is when the whole world,
pretty much like Funmi Buraimoh's son.
Exactly.
Right. The situation with her son. Right.
You know, it's difficult, but I think maybe Ibironke will be able to shed some light in. But it's a difficult situation, you know. But I think, like I said, they need to have the plan B, that if they find themselves in that type of situation, we need to teach them how to kind of find their way out. And like I keep on saying to my children, of course it's difficult because they're young. Don't take anything to heart. Whatever they say, just take it as a pinch of salt and move on. But it's easier said than done. And kids are different. Some kids are very, very emotional. Some kids will take things to heart than the others. So, like I said, there has to be a balance.
Totally. Ibironke, ma'am, do you want to give us closing remarks?
Yes.
So that we can bring this to an end. That's just so juicy. Amazing testimony. So much to learn. Facebook is on fire. Everybody be like, wow, this is good. God bless you. As you were speaking, Mrs. Bello, we had somebody that says, yeah, you got to do your research, do your research in this sort of situation. Don't just, oh yeah, it's a great school. Okay. It's, top 10 performing, top 3 good performing schools. And so, yeah, that makes it all right for my son. Well, like you rightly said, it may not very well be, because there might be things there you will not know from just, on the onset. You need somebody who is in it and experiencing it to give you a really honest answer. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. Mrs. Ibironke Ezekiel, ma'am, give us some closing remarks, please.
Okay, I'll try and just summarize quickly. I think the word we need to take away this evening is the word to police the system. But
police the system.
And I'm going to share with us how. Number one, we need to make ourselves more visible.
Okay.
And you quickly ways in which can we have parents here who are already know who is a governor, be governors in schools, starting point. Get in there with your expertise skills and host an assembly. Your parents need to see you there. No matter what we say to them.
Our kids need to see us there.
Yes,
yeah,
thank you.
Okay.
No matter what you say to them, if they cannot see themselves where they are, they would never still feel whole. So the more of us that present ourselves, if you can't be there physically, you can be there in terms of plaques, sponsor a certificate so they can see your presence is felt in there.
Yeah.
Very, very vital. Next thing I want to say as well, form little mom groups in schools. Find out what upholds in your child's school. You have to be there. In most of the schools I've been, you see parents coming in and out.
Yeah.
It's a wise decision to do that. The more that they are seeing you as well, that's all. Use the implicit memory as a way to help us as a community. You're not there, sorry. You're not thought of, really. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
Can I also say something I said in the last one?
Yeah.
Let us also be mindful about the way we comport ourselves and the way we present our children. It's summertime now. Get the uniforms well in advance. Please get them nicely fitted uniform. Yeah. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag now, but those are kind of things that we actually position our children to be excluded. Attend meetings. Yeah. And then teach your children to document things. So if anything happens, that's why they have a planner. Those are things. And then when it comes to a situation, we come, we're pairing the school with so much emotions, So that's a way we could do it together collectively. Let's police. Let's have a taproot system. Let's not hide to one corner of the world and say, it's a posh, nice area and I don't want anybody. Well, this is what happens. Taproot, we're stronger. Lone root, the wind blowing and we're blown off. Off you go. That's it from me. Yes.
Off you go. Come back to that point where you meant something about a parents group, because I missed that. I was trying to actually pop that on Facebook on the comments section, just so that somebody else has helped us to put down, document. What was the other thing, ma'am?
I said a parent group.
Parent group, okay. Yes. And what is that? Elaborate.
So you find out in school if it's if they allow that formally. If they don't, you have an informal one, a WhatsApp group or something where you are communicating. And without evidence, we can't win any case.
Right.
So you talk about things there, like-minded people coming together, people of within the similar community, if you know what I mean, because they're everywhere in the world. So with people with similar, because this is our fight for inclusion. Nobody can do it for us. And they're peculiar to people within our community. And until we come together as a taproot, there is no way that we can effect change.
Holy. Completely understand. Amazing. Amazing. Wow. Ladies, thank you so much. Thank you. We could go on for another couple of hours because there's just so much we're learning. Everybody in Facebook land has really enjoyed this talk. And a lot of the viewers on here, bless God for these mommies and daddies on here. Actually, the mommies are outnumbering the daddies, but we thank God. We thank God at least we've got mommies that are paying attention, which is great. And we thank God for all of y'all. Now, we're going to leave it here, everybody on Facebook. We're going to bring this to a close. But listen, it's not over. The conversation is not over. Matter of fact, next week, we are coming back. Myself and Ibironke, we will be back and we'll be joined by a young man who has a testimony to share with us, who's lived it, overcome it, and is doing just fine by the grace of God. Okay. And I think he has a lot to share. Matter of fact, I'm going to say this. You don't want to come to that broadcast next week just on your own. You want to bring in your sons. Amen. You want to bring in your daughters with you. bring them on, because there's going to be so much we're going to share and hear live from this young man. Today, we've had the pleasure of hearing two mommies share their testimonies and their experiences. And thank God, they kept saying, thank God that, you know, it could have gone worse, okay? There were potential suicide cases there, but God. Hallelujah, somebody, you know, but God, amen. And we just thank God for that, you know, it's turned out just fine by the grace of God. And so we thank God for these two mommies. God bless you. And yeah, we're gonna edit this, guys, and we'll put it on YouTube. And so go ahead and like and follow the Maggie TV show YouTube page, channel rather, and we will see you back here next week. Tell my wonderful guests, God bless you, Funmi Buraimoh and Mrs Tayo Bello. God bless you, ladies. I am so rejoiced with you both that, you know, it's a testimony. It could have gone a certain way, but thank God, praise God, you know, for God's intervention. Thank you both. Amazing. We're coming out of these this particular segment. I guess, yes, the overall series on resetting the trajectory of our son's lives, but more than anything, I think many parents are getting educated today, and you know, in an amazing way. And trust your husband, Mr. Ezekiel. He goes, you know, because I was like bigging up the mommies, and he's like, no, daddy's too. Daddy's too. Sir, we salute you, sir. You are, you know, we recognize you on here, amen, and we thank God for you, amen. Somebody says insightful discussion, and they give it the perfect emoji. We thank God for you guys, amen. Thank you guys. We're leaving it here. We're gonna go. Bye-bye, everybody. Love y'all. Please tune in next week. We're gonna put up flyers. If you haven't liked and followed the Maggie McGuy page show, please do that so you get your notification as soon as we go live. Thank you, everybody. Love y'all. Take care. Thank you to my wonderful guests. Thank you, Ibironke. I'll be seeing you next week.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies. More grace and all the best to your families. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.